Hello and good evening. You're watching Awani Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzuki. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim has called for deeper cooperation across civilizations. Speaking at the Cosmopolitanism and Collaboration Across Civilizations in the Indian Ocean conference, Anwar stressed the need to revive the spirit of regional understanding, drawing lessons from the maritime journeys of Chinese Admiral Cheng Ho.
The principles of Madani, Shanghai's legacy, and Indian Ocean connectivity remind us that our strength lies in partnership, our prosperity in inclusivity, and our future in working together.
The half-day academic conference held at the IIUM Gombak campus brought together scholars to explore how historical ties, especially in the Indian Ocean region, can inspire contemporary governance and inter-civilizational dialogue between nations.
The Selangor State Government has announced a financial relief package worth over 7.3 million ringgit for victims of the Putra Heights gas pipeline fire. Menteri Besar Dato Sri Amiruddin Syari says the aid is in addition to contributions from Petronas and the federal government.
The state government is offering rental aid of 2,000 ringgit per month for 6 months to each affected family, allowing them to secure temporary housing while repairs or reconstruction take place. A total of 437 homes were affected by the fire, with the total value of losses and damage estimated at 65.4 million ringgit. Financial aid from Petronas and the federal government will also be disbursed to houses that are damaged.
Untuk rumah yang total loss, adalah sebanyak 5,000 daripada Petronas yang dikawal selia oleh pihak kerajaan negeri, 5,000 lagi daripada kerajaan persekutuan. Maknanya rumah total loss akan menerima RM10,000, manakala rumah yang terkesan dan juga penyewa-penyewa akan menerima RM2,500 daripada Petronas dan RM2,500 daripada kerajaan persekutuan melalui SU. Justru minimum mereka akan dapat RM5,000.
Additionally, for students impacted by the fire, 265 students will each receive 500 ringgit for school essentials. Meanwhile, Women, Family and Community Development Minister Dato Sri Nancy Shukri said 253 victims have received counselling at the Temporary Relief Centre. The sessions, she said, help identify some of the victims' urgent needs such as cash, mobile phones, air purifiers for autistic children, nursing bras, headache balms and disposable diapers.
Potential criminal elements and negligence are among factors being considered in the probe of the Putra Heights gas pipeline explosion. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein says the incident may not be solely due to human factors, as environmental factors or system pressure could have also played a role.
He said more than 10 agencies are currently involved in investigating the disaster. He added that investigations also cover geotechnical factors, with the Fire and Rescue Department and forensic teams on site to assess safety levels. Razaruddin stressed that the safety and well-being of visitors in the affected area remains the authorities' main concern. The Petronas gas pipeline fire, which occurred at 8:10 a.m. last Tuesday, saw flames shooting over 30 meters high and temperatures reaching 1,000 Celsius, taking almost 8 hours to fully extinguish the blaze.
Malaysia is seeking clarification from the United States over the 24% retaliatory tariff announced by US President Donald Trump. Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz says the government denies claims that Malaysia has imposed a 47% tariff on US imports.
He also clarified that the actual average tariff stands at about 5.6% based on the Simple Average Most Favoured Nation MFN applied rate. Zafrul added that the government remained committed to securing a fair resolution that preserves market access, attracts foreign investment, and supports the well-being of Malaysian businesses and workers. He said Malaysia aims to continue being a reliable trading partner, open to trade and investment, while valuing all economic partnerships, including the ties with traditional partners like the US and China.
Malaysia will seek to form a united ASEAN response to the reciprocal tariffs announced by the US last week. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says this is to ensure that upcoming negotiations and discussions are based on a solid foundation.
According to Anwar, he has spoken with the leaders of the Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, Brunei, Laos and Thailand to discuss the issue and coordinate their positions. In a video posted on his social media accounts yesterday, the Prime Minister assured that Malaysia would not face a recession despite being hit with new tariffs.
The trade and economic ministers will have meeting of all ASEAN economic ministers to prepare a coordinated ASEAN response, and I am constantly in touch with the ASEAN leaders to secure this understanding and to have a common position in our response to the United States.
ASEAN countries were among the hardest hit by the latest US measures, with Cambodia facing a basic and reciprocal tariff of 49%. This is followed by Laos at 48%, Vietnam at 46%, and Myanmar 44%. Thailand faces a tariff of 36%, Indonesia 32%, Brunei and Malaysia at 24% each, the Philippines 17%, and Singapore at 10%.
The government has given the green light to revise the consultation fees for general practitioners. Malaysian Medical Association President Datuk Dr. Kalwinder Singh Khaira says the long overdue update is necessary, emphasising that the 10 ringgit to 35 ringgit fee range has remained unchanged for 33 years and is no longer sufficient.
The cost of everything has gone up, cost of rental, cost of equipment, salaries. We have minimum salaries, of 1,007 now. GPs have to survive. What will happen if they cannot survive? They close down. Many GPs have closed down because they can't survive. And the effect will be felt by the patients. The effect will be felt by the patient. Their choice gets limited. They have to go to the already overburdened healthcare clinics. So I think at the end of the day, it has to be a win-win. You have to understand that we have to use the GP network in our country, about almost 11,000. They are the main frontline of our primary healthcare, in addition to the government health clinics. So we have to make them sustainable, and to make them sustainable, you have to give them, the consultation rates, which I say are respectable.
The Health Ministry is currently reviewing the fee, with an announcement expected before May. Dr. Kalwinder hopes that, in addition to raising the fee, periodical adjustments of 10% every 3 years are put in place to keep pace with inflation.
Whatever the figure will be, we have added on another concept, is that whatever rate is given, it should be regularly reviewed, which means that there should be increments every 3 to 5 years put in place. Because if it takes 33 years just to come to this stage, I don't think it'll be fair to wait another 33 years for the next increase. So it should be there every 3 to 5 years by itself. It should be moving up based on inflation. Because otherwise, any government of the day will face a lot of resistance to increase up rates again going forward. Because people think that the doctors are already doing well, GPs are rich, so there's no need to increase. But that is not the truth. I think at the end of the day, it will increase the quality of care. Increase quality of care because the doctors, can do what they do best. With a peace of mind without having to worry. How to sustain themselves. So I think that's important.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
Menggaruk kulit kepala disebabkan kelomomor, masalahnya lebih mendalam. Gunalah Head & Shoulders menembusi 5 lapisan untuk membasmi kelomomor dan kegatalan. Bebas kelomomor sehingga 100%. Head & Shoulders diuji secara dermatologi. Maggi Curry. Rasanya tiada ganti.
Dah cuba elak panas terik? Tapi kulit kepala masih gatal dan berminyak. Mungkin ia kelemomor. Gunalah Head and Shoulders. Berkesan menghapuskan kelemomor sehingga 100% bebas kelemomor. Head and Shoulders.
Several cities in the occupied West Bank area are staging a general strike in protest over Israel's ongoing operations in Gaza, where more than 50,000 Palestinians have been killed. Gaza solidarity movements called for a global strike today on April 7th, when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to visit the White House.
He is due to meet with US President Donald Trump and several US officials, with meetings to focus on the ongoing war in the Gaza Strip and the release of hostages. Netanyahu had departed for Washington for Budapest on Sunday, less than 24 hours after the trip was announced. Meanwhile, at least 57 people have been killed and 137 injured in Gaza in the last 24 hours. The death toll since Israel resumed its attacks on Gaza during March 18 has now reached over 1,300. Reports have also come in of Israeli bombing a tent housing journalists near Nasir Hospital in Han Yunis, killing at least 2 and wounding 7 others.
Asian share markets tumbled on Monday as fears of a global trade war led investors to ramp up bets on the risk of recession and the US rate cut as early as May. Japan's Nikkei share average tumbled nearly 9% at opening, while an index of Japanese bank stocks plunged as much as 17%.
Taiwan stocks plummeted almost 10% in their first round of trading since US President Donald Trump announced new import tariffs last week, with the head of the island's stock exchange saying it would roll out more stabilization policies if needed. Shares in chipmaker TSMC and electronics maker Foxconn both fell near 10%, triggering the 10% circuit breaker in the Taiwan market. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index was down 8% in early trade, while shares in online giants Alibaba and Tencent were down more than 8%. China's Shanghai Composite SSE Index opened down 148.91 points, or 4.46%, at 3,193.1. In South Korea, the benchmark Kospi opened down 4.7%. Robert Brooks, a Melbourne-based econometrics and business professor at Monash University, said that elements of the current sell-offs are clearly justified and that we are in for an uncertain period.
South Korea's cabinet is set to finalize June 3rd as the tentative date for the next presidential election, following the removal of Yoon Suk-yeol last week. Yonhap News, quoting a government official, reveals the acting president, Han Duck-soo, is expected to finalize the election date during a cabinet meeting this Tuesday.
The law requires a new presidential election within 60 days if the incumbent dies or is removed from office. Yoon was removed by the Constitutional Court on Friday following his short-lived martial law decree on December 3rd. If the June 3rd schedule is confirmed, prospective candidates must register by May 11th, and the official campaign period will begin on May 12th. The newly elected president will assume office immediately after the election results, without a transition team.
That report wraps up Awani News Tonight. Check out our web portal, keeping you informed on the critical events shaping our world, all in one place at international.astroawani.com. That's all for now. I'm Hafiz Marzuki. Thanks for watching and good night.